In 15 minutes or less, let's cover how to deploy Defender for Endpoint using your Microsoft 365 admin portals, including Microsoft Defender and Intune. Defensive insights within a compressed format. First, we're going to navigate to the Defender portal. So go to security.microsoft.com, navigate down to System, expand that, and go to Settings. Once you've got to your settings, go to Endpoints. At your endpoints, we want to look at our advanced features. Now, advanced features gives us a lot of control, and definitely take the time to go and have a look after this video, because there may be things that you have not turned on that could be beneficial in your environment. Likewise, there might be things that are turned on that you want to turn off. But for now, we're going to scroll down to the bottom of this menu, and we're going to look for Microsoft Intune connection, and we're going to enable this. Microsoft Intune connection, this will allow the sharing of data between the two portals. Once that's set, click Save Preferences. Then we're going to navigate over to our Intune portal. So this is intune.microsoft.com. Once there, we're going to go to Endpoint Security, and then we're going to go all the way down to the heading underneath the setup area, which is Microsoft Defender for Endpoint. Once we're here, we want to enable this first control. So everything else will be grayed out by default, and this will be allow Microsoft Defender for Endpoint to enforce endpoint security configurations. And that's going to give us the ability to push things through Intune. So we select on. Underneath, we've got a lot of different controls, and these are going to be around the different platforms for compliance policy, as well as for app protection. So take the time to look through and enable what you need in your environment. For me, I have everything turned on. Once that's set up, we want to give a little bit of time for that sync to occur. Microsoft says that it could take excess, up to say 24 hours, but usually should be pretty quick. Then we want to navigate to endpoint detection and response. We want to have a default policy. So you can see I have just a default policy here. Now, the quick and easy way to create this is to head over to EDR onboarding status and to click on deploy pre-configured policy. Once you click that, you're going to select the platform, so Windows in this case, and then select the profile, which is endpoint detection and response. We have no other option. And then go ahead and create. Give it a name. We're just going to call this demo. And this will show you a flyout that has all of the information that's going to apply with this policy. So the basics, the scope tags, the assignments, and the settings, which is auto from connector. And this is helping to roll out EDR to all the devices connected in Intune. Then we're going to save. Once we're saved, we should see that our devices start to populate this list, and we get an onboarding status versus not onboarded. After this, you might be asking, okay, but how do I set up the individual settings for Defender for Endpoint for my fleet? There's different configurations. I don't want users to change settings. What do I do here? So you can go and just create your own policy, and you can even follow different security frameworks. So the ASD has their blueprints, or you have CIS with their benchmarks. Otherwise, Microsoft has their security baselines. So we go up here, click security baselines, still within endpoint security within Intune. And they've got all of these policies here that are a baseline that can be applied against a different context. So the three main ones that are generally going to be applicable are going to be your Microsoft 365 apps for enterprise security baseline, Defender for endpoint security baseline, and baseline for Windows 10 and later. If we're just talking about Defender, then we're going to look at Microsoft Defender for endpoint security baseline. Now, Holistic security looks at the whole picture, so don't just look at that, but in this video, that's what we're covering. So we're going to click Microsoft Defender for Endpoint Security Baseline. Here we click Create Policy and Create. Here we give it a better name than I have, however, I am putting Demo. Click Next. That's going to take a little while, and then you get your configuration settings, which you can actually expand and you can customize. So this is all set up out of the box when you want to apply the baseline, and Microsoft's gone through and given us that baseline, but we can actually go in and make those changes that are necessary for our environment before we apply that policy. So we can see here there are different controls around BitLocker, drive encryption, fixed drives for BitLocker, and then under Defender we can see there's a lot of different controls here for the settings that Defender will run. And if we're applying them here, then they're going to be enforced on the device. So once we're happy and we've checked through everything, we've made any changes necessary, we can click Next. We can apply scope tags where necessary, click Next, and then roll it out first to a test group, trial that, and then roll it out to all devices and make any exclusions necessary. Click Next, and then we're going to review, create, and press Create. Once that is set and your devices have enrolled with EDR, they're enrolled in Intune, they will take up that policy and you'll see all of those configurations being enforced on the device. And hey presto, you have Defender for Endpoint set up using Intune with its sync over to Microsoft Defender. Thanks so much for watching.